That's not spicy, that's just wrong. What's up guys, my name's Renee April and I'm a young adult author. I recently released my debut fantasy novel, Her Crown of Fire. Came out on November 1st and so far so good, but I'm ready to get back into the writing scene. Got a couple of fresh projects on the side here. So I decided to turn to the writing community hashtag on Twitter, where I asked you guys for some controversial and spicy writing opinions. We're gonna dissect those today because you guys delivered, and man, there are some spicy biscuits in there, so we're gonna get stuck in. Let's go. You don't need to pay an editor. You've heard of Grammarly, right? Don't just use Grammarly. Get an editor. Real writers write every day. No. Real writers are thinking about writing every day. They write when time allows them to, because people have lives and people have jobs and children. Oh, damn! Write a real genre if you want to make real money. What's a real genre? What, like literary fiction? What do we... No! Write whatever you want! Don't use any dialogue tags except for said, asked, and replied. No, okay? We've been through this, writing community. We've been through this. There's a healthy balance. Your characters can't said, nor can they whisper, purr, mumble, hum. There's a healthy balance. It's not just this camp or this camp. You've got to find a nice little Venn diagram in the middle. The first draft is your best draft. If it's not good enough, trash it and start again. Edit only for clarity. No, no. I know that this video is probably going to get a lot of flack because I'm just like, no, what? I recently released an article with Ari Meghlen discussing dealing with an evolving manuscript. I'll pop a link to it in the description below. And it was basically the exact opposite of that. I work in layers. I know a lot of fantasy writers that work in layers. First draft, second draft, third draft. Her Crown of Fire, we did like 7 complete rewrites. There's 12 drafts of that book. And the final product wouldn't be what it is if the first draft was rubbish. Absolute garbage. I didn't know what I was writing. I didn't know the whole world building aspect. With each draft that I wrote, there was new layers of that world building being added. And I was becoming more familiar with the story, with my characters. I was getting to know them like old friends. Draft and redraft. You know I love you. You know I love you, Luigi, but I can't agree with that. I'm so sorry, my darling. Write from within the scene rather than about the scene, if that makes sense. Don't treat your story and characters as your babies. By all means, love what you write, but remember to keep your distance and always be critical of your work. Too much love equals 0 improvement. Oh, hook it to my veins. That's the kind of advice that I need. That's the kind of advice I know a lot of writers need. This story comes from you, it comes from within you, from a very special place where you want to tell this narrative. But if you're seeking publication, you can't be precious about that fact. If you're submitting it to editors, if you're submitting it to reviewers, if you're putting it out there in the public eye where people can read it, you can't be precious about it. It's only going to lead to heartache. Grow from your criticism, learn from your criticism, don't dwell on your criticism. Adverbs tend to make a voice weak and bland. Active voices tend to not use them and entertain the reader more. About halfway through the editing process for Her Crown of Fire, I got a list of adverbs from my editor that I'm not allowed to use anymore. So, my editor would agree with you. People have disagreed, but it's okay to take classes for creative writing. Yes, art can't be taught, but technique and skill can be honed? Technique and skill can be honed with a bit of guidance. Like any type of lessons, you learn to develop a critical eye and a sense of self-governance. I like that. I really like that. Take classes, learn, grow, workshop, network, get out there. First sentences aren't that important. The first page, scene, and chapter need to all work together. A snappy first sentence but weak chapter won't cut it, in my opinion. Yes. Subverting tropes only works if it happens organically in the story. When it's forced, it's staler than the original trope. Damn, I love it. Don't set out to just wow the reader. Don't just set out to, oh, plot twist, bet you didn't see that coming. Because if it doesn't make sense in the story, you just pull the rug out from under your reader. And a story they thought they were following suddenly doesn't make sense to them anymore. That's a really quick way to break a reader out of immersion. They're not going to thank you for it. And that little kick you get from surprising people, it's not going to last, and it's definitely not going to translate to a good review or a good reading experience, which is much more important. Your story's voice, your story's tone is just as, if not more, important than the plot and the characters. No. Wow, that was a really virulent response there. No, characters for me, these are my spicy writing opinions. Characters for me make a story. I can read any genre. I can read any genre and not give a rat's ass about it if the characters don't engage me. You can be the best writer on the planet. You can be Patrick Rothfuss and write this beautiful, incredible, deep prose. I'm not going to care if I don't care about your characters. The draft needs to exist when writing sci-fi. The sciences doesn't necessarily need to be 100% correct, but it does need to be believable. Be the Hurricane. Dave. Although do some research when writing sci-fi. For almost everyone, there will never be a perfect time to start writing. Just do it. And start building your author platform and marketing plan now, even if you haven't published anything. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. If this is something you want to do, if you want to be an author, if you want to be a writer, start creating your brand, start marketing yourself already, have a website, have a Twitter, be accessible. Oh, here we go, this is a thread. My spiciest writing advice: to improve as writers, we have to actively seek improvement through critical reading of our work and others, and through studying the craft from successful writers. If we don't read our work with perspective, having waited until we forget what we think it says, then we can't accurately revise or edit it. We should take feedback from critique partners and beta readers into consideration. We can be too close to our work to see flaws. Yes, Melissa, you are speaking to my soul. This is we're circling the central theme here is people being too precious about their work, people being too close to their work, people not taking a step back and looking at it with their own critical eye. Letting other people in on that creative process is hard. And it's hard to learn. It was a really difficult learning step for me. I'm very set in my ways, I'm very stubborn. And letting someone else come in and go, maybe if we didn't do X, Y, and Z, we could do A, B, and C. And I went from going, no, are you kidding? This is my story, this is my baby. And I went to going, oh yeah, the implications of that though. So yeah, let other people in. Sometimes that other person is a new version of you. And read your stuff out loud. Failing to read widely in my genre and category deeply disservices me. It means I won't be aware of what's been overdone, can't surpass tropes in a fresh way, and have adequate knowledge of comps for querying. It's poor literary citizenship. Melissa, I feel like you should be doing this video, not me, darling. That is some... I love the way that tweet's put together. I'm just gonna fangirl and nerd out a little bit over this. Poor literary citizenship. Sprinkle turmeric on the pages. Because I asked for spicy writing opinions. No number of revisions will turn a first draft into a second draft. A new draft results from time, distance, and perspective. Learn to give it your story space. Yeah, that's I definitely agree with giving it time, letting your story sit for a little bit, walking away, coming back with a fresh mindset. 100%, you need to do that. 6 weeks is the minimum. Finish your first draft, walk away, work on something else. Only one bed is contrived garbage. No, the trope. I love that trope. Show don't tell is newbie advice and is responsible for a ton of boring novels. Oh my gosh. There are some things that need to be told explicitly. I find this especially in fantasy when discussing magic systems and sci-fi when discussing technology. Some things you do need to tell, otherwise focus on showing as well. But I do agree, sometimes it is overused. Alright, that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this crazy ride. I'd love to know what you guys thought of some of that advice down in the comments below. Let's have a discussion, let's talk, let's learn. My name's Renee April, and I hope to see you guys again in another video. Bye-bye. Also, like, buy my book, I guess. I'm not good at this marketing thing.